back. Today we're looking at the roots of real estate investing. And so what are the roots of this oak tree that we're trying to build? The symbol that we picked for generational wealth, for real wealth, is an oak tree. Because an oak tree lasts way beyond any one person. And for me, I want my wealth to last way beyond me. I want to be able to pass it down to my kids, to my grandkids, and all generational wealth in this country, or at least the most of it, has been tied up in real estate, honestly. Is people leaving real estate to their kids and to their grandkids with value and with equity inside of it. But the roots of this real estate investing career is so important, because without a good root system, without a good foundation, nothing can then be built upon that. And so the first thing that we must do in order to build or to grow an oak tree is plant a seed. And so the first seed, in my opinion, the first seed of real estate investing is making a decision, making up your mind that you're going to be a real estate investor, that you're going to be a real wealth investor. And once you make up your mind to do that, that is the first initial seed, and everything else can grow and sprout out of that. But first and foremost, that seed is so important. So if you haven't made up your mind yet on whether or not you want to do this, I hope this video could actually help you make up your mind to make that decision to do real estate, to be a real estate investor, to grow this generational wealth, to be a real wealth investor. And so today we're going to dig into those roots. I'm going to talk about what those roots are, how you can grow some stronger roots so that you can begin to build your own real estate investing career. And as you begin to understand these things, you begin to understand some of the common mistakes and pitfalls that real estate investors can jump into. And so for right now, listen, learn, get educated, and then act. And so my story in particular, really quickly, my story is my mom wanted to own her first home, my whole life. She was telling me, I'm going to buy my home, I'm going to buy my home. She wanted a place where all the kids could come back to when we get older. She wanted that hub for the family, but she never actually realized that dream. She never actually bought her own home. I remember even growing up having to ask a landlord for permission to put holes in the wall in order to hang up pictures. It just sticks very vividly in my mind. What do you mean we got to call this guy to ask him if we can hang up a picture? For me, it was ludicrous. Even as a kid, I recognized that there was something off about that. But then as I got older, I started to recognize why my mom was never able to buy that home, why she wasn't able to actually realize her dream. And when I was 18, just graduating from high school, one of my good friends and I, we started reading a book by Susie Orman. It was like financial literacy for teenagers. And we read that thing, and we devoured that thing, and I began to understand credit and debt and what I should do and what I shouldn't do. And I began to recognize, oh, my mom didn't own that home because my mom had bad credit, because my mom was in a lot of debt. And my mom wasn't in a rush to pay these debt collectors. And so because of that, she was never able to get a home, because they're not going to give you a home and expect you to be able to pay a mortgage if you can't even pay your light bills, if you can't even pay some of the utilities that you have. And I was a single mom. She got the thing done. She raised me, so she did a great job. Praise the Lord. But at the same time, she wasn't able to buy a house in this current system. And so credit is so important. We'll get there, because that's part of the roots of any real estate investor, is having good credit or being able to get capital with good credit. But the reality is that we didn't have that growing up. And so because of that, I was set behind the eight ball, at least just in my mind, of thinking and believing that I could own my own home. Because if you don't see it, it's hard to actually be it. Because, growing up, a lot of things are caught more so than they're taught. And so for me to not see it, it kind of set me back. But in 2016, I decided that I was going to buy my home, and I started to figure out what I needed to do that. I found a lender who somebody gave me the number of, and she started, looking at my taxes, looking at all those things. She was like, man, you are more than able to buy a house. You have multiple streams of income coming in. You pay your bills on time. Your credit score's 700 and something. You don't have a whole lot of debt. And so then I was like, oh, wow, if I had just known, if I had just been a little more educated, I probably could have got on this path a little sooner. But regardless, I'm on this path now. So in 2016, I bought my first home. It was a multifamily home. Me and my wife lived in it. Our tenants paid our mortgage for us. We lived for free practically and saved up some money. And then we bought our one family home. But now, 6 years later, I'm a real estate agent. I'm flipping homes. I'm a landlord. But I also had to recognize, I can't keep doing the landlord thing. I couldn't keep dealing with tenants. I learned how to deal with them, but now I have a property manager who deals with them. But I started personally in real estate by buying my first home. That was great and everything. But the investing part, I started flipping houses. And I was doing that while I was working my day job. But as I was doing that, it was becoming too much. I have a high capacity for things, but I was feeling it. My family was feeling it. And I knew I had to get off this hamster wheel. I knew I had to do something different. And then I thought, hey, I'm already doing the flips. People are already seeing me do that. Maybe I could just become an agent and help people buy and sell, and that could actually get me off this hamster wheel. So I took these classes. I took the test. I was always a good test taker. I passed the test, and now I'm an agent. And so now that's my main thing. I coach football. I'm a real estate agent and a real estate investor. Those are my things. Overall, I'm an entrepreneur. I like to do what brings me joy. I like to do things that I love. And so, football is one of those things, so that gets thrown into the mix as well. But now I'm an investor, and that's how my mind starts operating now, is out of the investment side. And so I want to help you understand what are some of the roots of real estate investing so that you can now have a real estate investor's mind to then set yourself up to build something that could actually last. And so the 4 roots that I want to talk about today, I'm just going to go through them real quick. The first one is character. The second one is competence. The third one is capital/credit. And then the fourth one is your crew or your community. Who are these people that are around you that's going to help you in reaching your goals? And so let's go through these. It's going to be a short video, but the first one is character. Now, the reality is talent can get you in the door, but character keeps you in the room. Character is so, so, so important when we're talking about real estate investing. It doesn't seem like it's a big thing, but honestly, it's bigger than you think. Now, there are some investors who just do whatever they need to do to get whatever kind of money they want to get, and they want to cut corners, and they want to skim people on their money, and they want to make sure they're paying the less out of their own pocket. But I'm telling you now, it may seem like the thing to do in the moment, but in the long run, it's just going to come back to bite you. Because honestly, having good character is the number one thing in your real estate investing career, because people want to work with you when they know you're an honest person. People want to work with you when they know that you're going to do what you say you're going to do, when your yes is yes and your no is no. When you think about literacy and when you think about characters in a story, the character actually is like, oh, that's that person's character, that's their image, that's how they are, that's what comes to mind when I think about that person. And so your character is what comes to mind when somebody thinks about you. Do they think about the way that you try to gyp them for a couple of dollars? That's part of your character. Do they think about you being a family person or a family man or a family woman? That's part of your character. Do they think of you as being somebody who's just a hustler, trying to make money, money, money? Because you could tell talking to people, this person is all about money, right? And is that part of your character? Because the reality is, real estate is a game where you're forced almost to put real estate and profit over people. And if you think like that, and if you fall into the way in which the system says you have to be, you're probably not going to build a solid foundation. But you got to be able to put people over profit. You got to be able to love people enough to build a good foundation that people are going to want to come back to you. Your business is going to grow when you put people over profit. At least when you do it initially, but in the long run, you'll make even more profit. And that's the thing that people don't understand. Your character goes so, so far. What do you do when it gets hard? That's part of your character. What do you do when things get tough? What do you do when you got to juggle certain things? What do you do when you see your bank account dwindling and you don't know if you're going to pay your bills? This is all part of your character. What do you do? You cut corners? Do you lie? Or do you just tell people the truth and try to figure it out and make it work? Your character is one of the most important roots of your real estate investing career. And if you don't have that, I'm telling you, it's going to be a long, long road. Your character is about who you are as a person. It's about the integrity that you have inside, not what it looks like on the outside, but the integrity that you have on the inside. Charisma is about being able to, perform or do something while people are watching you. Charisma is about convincing others of something, but character is what you do when nobody's looking. I tell my football players all the time, I say, yes, listen, a champion trains when nobody else is looking. It's one thing to train when people got their eyes on you because you want to look good and show people how good you are. But when nobody else is looking, what do? What does your character do? When you pull up to that red light at 2 o'clock in the morning and there's not another car in sight, there's no police officers, nothing. There's nobody. It's just a light and it's red. Do you stand there and do you wait for that light to turn green? Or do you look around and run right through that light? That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about character. And people don't like me talking about character because they're like, can you just tell me about real estate? Can you just tell me about how to grow my real estate investing career or business, or how to make more money? But I'm telling you, if you understand your character and how important it is, you understand that that actually is a part of you making more money. But it has to be from the heart. It has to be something that's genuine. It has to be you actually caring about people and not so much about profit. And so if I can give you any advice up front to begin with, it's to have good character, to treat people well. You know, when I was in the 6th grade, I had a teacher. And at the top of every assignment that we handed in, we had to put at the top of it respect and responsibility. Those are her 2 R's. Respect and responsibility. Do you respect people? Are you responsible? Do you show up to things when you say you're going to show up, or do you keep people waiting? Do you plan well, or do you just go by the seat of your pants? I know for me, I could go and just flow and just get it done, but I've had to learn how to slow down and to plan and to do things right in order to build some character, to build some responsibility, to build some sort of character that somebody can look at from the outside and be able to say, oh, okay, that's the type of person I want to work with. Oh, I trust that person. And I'm telling you, character, character, character. That's the first root. The second is capital or credit. You need it. And I only have it on here because it's a part of the system. You cannot invest in real estate without capital and or credit. Now, capital meaning money, right? Meaning currency. I put it second after character because so many people care more about currency and more about money than they do about legacy. Your character will help your legacy in the long run. Don't put currency over legacy. Put legacy over currency, but currency, capital, credit, it's so important. It's so important. Now, again, I said it before, you don't need your own capital. You just need to know how to get capital. And that's where the credit comes in. If you have a good credit score, if you actually started paying your bills on time, paying back your creditors, then you can get a loan to get you started in real estate. That's how I started. I had good credit, took out a $30,000 loan or so, started paying that thing back with that same money, and used the rest of that money to get my first deal done so that I can actually start my real estate investing career. Capital, capital, capital. It takes money to make money. Yes, but it doesn't have to be your own. So please, understand that, get on top of your credit, do what you got to do. But that's the second root. That's the second part of the foundation of your real estate investing career. Because if you can actually understand how your credit score is generated, if you can actually understand what the banks are looking at before they decide to give you a loan, you can set yourself up to actually be successful. It's the only way that you can actually move from being poor to actually making some significant amount of money is because you being poor, you can't save up the capital. You being poor, you can't just have somebody give it to you. You're not going to inherit it. You may not come from that kind of a family. But in order for you to get the capital needed to actually make this lifestyle a reality, it's going to be you being an honest person, having a good character, paying back your debt. That's going to allow you to actually have somebody lend you some money so that you can get this thing started. And so please, capital, 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 credit, credit, credit. The third thing is competence. Please do not jump into real estate without knowing anything about real estate. Please do not jump into real estate without actually reading something, without listening to a podcast, listening to an audiobook, or even having a mentor that can teach you some stuff and walk you through the different processes of real estate. And when you get more competence, you get more confidence. It's called the confidence-competence loop. They follow one another. The more competent you are, the more confident you are to take the next step in real estate. Grow in competence. Invest in some education. That's always a help. That always helps you get on this path. It also helps you overcome your fears. Because so many people are afraid to take that next step in real estate. Take that next step in getting some capital and trying to flip this house or trying to buy this investment property. It's a big deal, and it can create a lot of anxiety. And the way that you get over that anxiety, the way that you get past that fear is to grow in competence. When you understand something, you're way more likely to then act on that thing that you now understand. But if you don't understand it and you have a lot of questions still, that creates more and more fear, more and more anxiety, and stops you from taking the next steps that you need to take in order for you to be successful at any given thing. Now, the reality is that some of you never ever actually read something about real estate. You saw some videos, you got some education, maybe a little bit by watching some YouTube, which is great, a good place to start. But there's some audiobooks out there that go even more in depth. You can even get like coaching from somebody, and get some like one-on-one personal like coaching to help you get that education and get that competence. Some people do group coaching. Some people sell courses, things of that sort. Those things are going to help you grow and help you get the confidence that you need in order to get off the hamster wheel and to stop running this American rat race and actually begin to build this real wealth living and this real estate investing career. Another part of the competence is your experience. Now, your experience teaches you so many times more than what you can listen to or what you can read or what somebody can tell you. The experience is the best teacher, in my opinion. I jumped into it and I knew a lot, but you really don't know what you don't know until you go through it. And so for me, I jumped into real estate. I knew a whole bunch, but then you learn a lot more when you actually put your hands and your feet to it, and you actually begin to live it out and walk it out on a day-to-day basis. And so what experiences do you have? Because you're not going to learn it all before you jump in. You got to jump in. And so for me, I remember asking my friend, Mr. Real Finance, shout out to my man Casey. I was about to buy my first home, and he was already getting into real estate investing and everything. And I said, Casey, like, what do I need to do? Like, help me understand. I'm trying to buy a home. Help me, help me, help me. He said, brother, I told you a lot of stuff already. Honestly, you just need to go through the process, because the process in and of itself is going to be the teacher for you. And that was some really good advice. So I stopped trying to reach around and ask people different things, and I started to actually take the steps needed and necessary to actually buy my first home. And that was all the things that I needed right there, in order to actually get the education. I didn't do it the best way when I first started, believe me, and you probably won't either. But that first experience, the money that you could potentially even lose in that first experience is worth that experience. Like, you lost some money, but you paid for that experience. And that experience is invaluable. That experience is going to help you make so much more money in the future. So don't be afraid of jumping in once you get some education and know what you're doing. Now, the other part of real estate investing, in order to build a good foundation, is you got to have a good crew. You got to have good connections. You got to have a good community around you. And so the top 4 people, there's probably like 5 or 6, but the top 4 that you need to have in your corner, the top 4 that you need to have on your team, is first and foremost is your realtor. Your realtor is going to help you find deals. Your realtor is going to help you navigate and negotiate deals. Your realtor is going to be able to send you leads and things of that sort. And I would even put realtor/wholesaler, because your realtor, if you're getting things from the off the market, but you may have a wholesaler that's going to give you some things and some deals and some properties that are not yet on the market. And so I see a realtor and a wholesaler as one and the same when it comes to actually getting leads and actually trying to buy property. And so make sure you have a good realtor or a wholesaler on your team and part of your crew. The next is your lender. Your lender is the person that's going to finance you. It's going to be able to give you that bank loan to be able to buy that house and get that funding. Now, if you're getting it from the market, just a regular lender is going to be fine. But if you're going, the more investor route, you might try to look into getting some private lending from private investors, where you're not dealing with a bank, but you're dealing with a person. And that person is giving you the money so you can buy the house, fix up the house, and either refinance it or sell it. And so that person is probably a short-term lender. And then when you refinance it into a 30-year mortgage, you refinance it into a long-term lender. But anyway, a lender, somebody who can actually give you money from a bank or from their own pocket, a private lender, is what you need in order to get started as well. You need this person on your team. And so some of these folks can be found just through networking and communicating, but they're all out there. You can join Bigger Pockets, another good community, and they have a list of lenders in every state. And so there should be no reason why you shouldn't be able to find a lender that can help you get into some of these homes. The next person you need to have on your team is your contractor. This is probably, in my opinion, the most important person on your team, because the contractor is the one that actually puts the equity into the home. They're the ones that actually add to the value. They're the ones that actually transform the space that then becomes the money that you now have, whether it's an equity or if you sell it and you get the money in your pocket. That contractor is so important, and good contractors are hard to come by. They really, really are. But if you find a good one, make sure you treat them well, you treat them right, and you make sure that they're taken care of and they're taking care of you. Because a bad contractor will tell you it's going to take 2 months to do something, and it takes 4. And now the numbers that you worked for this deal are now all off and all messed up because you have all these different months of holding costs. I remember I had a contractor. It took 9 months to get this project done, and I thought it was going to be done in 3. It took 9 months. Every month I'm paying $2,000 to this lender for this loan in order to get this house to fix it up. And so that cost me 6 months more payments. That cost me $12,000 more. That messed everything up. And now because this contractor didn't do what they were supposed to do. So you got to have a good contractor on your team. A contractor that actually does things in a good amount of time. And again, the biggest commodity is time. Not money, but it's time. So pay the money to get a contractor that does it in a good amount of time. Now, with contractors, there's 3 things to think about and understand. With a contractor, it's about the time that it takes them to do the work. It's about the quality of the work that they do and the amount of money that you pay them. And so those 3 things, you usually can't have all 3. You can't have it be a cheap contractor who's going to do it fast and in a good way with good quality. If you're trying to go the less money route, you're going to lose one of the two. If you try to go with just speed, right, just get the most speed possible, you may lose the quality. But sometimes things take time, and so you have to be able to understand that you may have to pay a little more. If you come out of your pocket and pay for it, then you'll lose on the money aspect, but you'll gain in the time and you'll gain in the quality. And so good contractors is of the utmost importance. The next person you need to start finding in your city, wherever you are, is a good property manager. I hear it all the time. I don't know if I want to be a landlord. I don't know if I want to be able to track people down and chase them down for money. I don't know, man. I know a lot of friends who are landlords who have a lot of headaches. And then what if somebody doesn't pay you? I got to be responsible for that? Oh, my goodness. Now, I'm telling you, that was me when I first got into it. And then I recognized, wait, there's people out there called property managers. And these people manage the property for you. You can buy the house, right, initially. And you can actually get a property manager to start working with you before the construction is even done, before you even get tenants in the property, before you do anything, because it's the property they're going to manage, and so they're willing to help you out. Sometimes they can even help you with the contractors. Sometimes they can even help you manage the contractor. If you get a good property manager and you tell that property manager, hey, I bought this house. The contractor's fixing it up right now. Then I'm going to get some tenants in there, and I want you to help me fill it with some tenants and manage the property for me. They'll love to be involved in that because they know that they're going to be receiving the funds on the back end, and so they'll more than likely help you in the front end. And because that contractor, the better work that contractor does, the better work that's inside of that particular unit or that property or that apartment means that they could probably rent it out for a little more money. And you can get a good property manager for about 6, 8, 10% of the rent that's coming in. So if you get $1,000 coming in rent from one apartment, you kick that property manager $100, and now you get the 900. 90% is way more than enough for me. And I don't got to deal with the headaches, and I don't got to deal with the tenants. Now, if a tenant needs to be evicted, they're going to go through the process, the property manager is. They're going to go to court. They're going to be the ones that's going to bat for you, and you can just ask them what happened. They collect the rent. They send the money directly into your bank account. They take their share out of it. They send you a report at the end of the month of what's going on with the property, what are some of the things that are happening that they notice. If something breaks, they'll call you up. Hey, the toilet broke. Do you want to fix it or do you want us to fix it? If we fix it, we'll take it out of the rent. What do you want us to do? And you make a decision. I'm telling you, if you get a realtor, wholesaler on your team, a good lender, somebody to finance these deals, a contractor, and a property manager, you're like 50% on your way to doing what you need to do to set yourself up to be a real wealth investor. Again, you need good character. You need competence. You need some education. You need some money. You need some capital. You need some good credit. And you need a good crew and a good community around you. These are the 4 C's of real estate investing. These are the cornerstones. These are the roots of real estate investing. That if you begin to work these things and understand these things, I'm telling you, sky is the limit. Now, I'm going to tell you a little story about a client that I had, because I'm a real estate agent, and I had a client named Mr. Brown. I'm going to try to interview him for some of you guys to be able to hear his story. But this young man, I coached him in football as well. I've known him since he was like 9 years old, running around with his brother on the football field. He just graduated from college. But this guy is a hard worker. When I tell you character-wise, he was working at Home Depot and Newport Creamery while going to school full-time while playing Division I football. Playing Division I football, going to school at a business school, going to school for financing at that, and working at both Home Depot and Newport Creamery, saving up his money. He was living with his brother at the time, living at home, not having to pay a whole lot of rent. And so a lot of the money that he was making, he was able to bank it and save it up. He was building his capital at that particular time. And he was a college student. He was saying, hey, I'm going to live off $500 a month. And all the extra money, I'm going to throw into a bank account. By the time he graduated from college, he had over $20,000, $25,000. We can ask him. But he had thousands of dollars already saved up. He grew that capital because of his lifestyle, the way he set himself up, and the way that he was budgeting and all the things that he was doing. And it was a great example of you can actually do it when you make a plan and stick to it, and you're willing to work and have good character. When you're willing to actually build some capital and not just spend on stupid stuff. He told me, he said, listen, I told my friends I couldn't go to the clubs. I told my friends I couldn't go to this party, that I had to work or that I had to go to practice. And it's all of that, because he was doing all of those things, he had all the time in the world to actually just save up his money. And then when he got out, he had so much ready to go for him. I'm telling you, this is what happens when you actually begin to put these things in place, when you actually begin to build the foundation of your real estate investing career. Start talking about it. Start telling people what you're trying to do. And they'll be, oh, do you know this person? Oh, do you know that person? Let me connect you to this person. Let me connect you to that person. Start talking about your goals. Start getting it out of your mouth. And when you start to talk about it and people begin to hear it and you begin to know that you put it out there, you're going to keep yourself more accountable. Like, man, I told this person I'm going to do this. I told people that I'm going to get into real estate. Now I got to actually do it. But some people are like, I'm not going to tell nobody. And then you don't have any accountability. You end up not doing anything. So, again, talk to people. Get the word out there. Make sure you're actually moving in the right direction and you're doing these things that I'm telling you. Worrying about these 4 pillars and roots of real estate investing. So again, as we wrap this up, 4 things that you need in order to build your real estate investing career. These 4 roots are your character, capital, competence, and your crew in your community. Now, some of you may be a little discouraged right now, and you're looking at this, and you're looking at your life, and you're recognizing that maybe you don't have the best of character right now. You may only be watching this because you want to make more money. But real wealth is not anxious and not reactionary, but real wealth is calm and proactive, and it sees a bigger picture. It's not just about money, but it's about the long game. It's about legacy over currency. Don't be discouraged. Actually make up your mind that you want to actually be somebody of good character. And if you bring it to your identity of who do you want to be, what kind of person do you want to be, that's going to help you slowly begin to live out this life that has character attached to it. And there are also some tools that are out there to help you with this. I have a course you can watch, or you can maybe even hire me as a coach. But there are different resources out there that we're coming out with to be able to help you dig into this if you recognize, hey, I need some help in this area. Or maybe I don't have everything that I need in this area. But these 4 areas, if you start kind of taking an inventory of your life and where you are with them and begin to address them, you will begin to build this foundation that we're talking about. If you hire me as your coach one-on-one, we'll go deep into these things first and foremost, and we'll use different tools and different things to be able to go deep to help you understand where you need to grow or what some of your next steps are to build this foundation. But once this foundation is built, then you can move on to the actual strategies of real estate investing that can actually help prepare you to be this real wealth investor. If you got to the end of this video, you're further along than most people. Trust me. Many people would have heard this, turned it off, changed it, or have just, started doing whatever they wanted to do. But you're still here and you're still listening to this and you're still learning because you're interested in it. Because you're actually one of the few that want to maybe even take the next steps in your real estate investing career. And so keep doing what you're doing. Keep learning. Keep getting the confidence that you're getting right now. by learning more from other people that have gone before you, who have done it. And get a mentor. Get somebody that's a little further along than you, but also get a mentee. Get somebody who is not where you are. And I think everybody needs that person a little further ahead and a little further behind. And I think that's how we actually give back, but also grow at the same time. If you feel stuck right now, if you don't know what to do or where to go, shoot us an email. I'd love to hear from you. What are some of the things you're thinking about? What are some of the questions that you have as it relates to real estate investing and building this solid foundation? And so thank you for joining us here. The next video is coming out where I'm going to teach you the actual strategy to real wealth. I call it the F6R model. And so you'll see that. You're probably like, what is this F6R model? It's a vehicle. It sounds like a car or an airplane or something, right? But that's exactly what it is. It's a vehicle. Because the F6R model is a vehicle that gets you to the next place that you want to be. It gets you to this new lifestyle. It gets you off the hamster wheel. It helps you stop running this rat race that we have here in America. And so again, the F6R model, be on the lookout for that. If you gave us your email, we'll be sending that out to you as well. And so listen to that, and I'm going to teach you. People pay for that. I'm going to give it to you for free. People pay just to help people understand the model. I'm going to teach you the strategies, and you ain't got to give me nothing. And if you take those strategies that I give you and you actually implement it, it's going to change your life. But when you actually hear it and you understand it, you're going to want to do it. And if you start taking those next steps to doing it and you find out that you can't or you're having a hard time, that's probably where the coaching comes in. That's where the courses come in. That's where the extra education and competence comes in. But stay tuned for that next video. We'll be sending that out to you soon. Thanks for joining us again here with the Real Wealth Investors. See you in the next video.